This is Spoken by Elswith, a Femdom Hypnosis podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe. Plus, visit my website for sessions too intense to be included here. Visit my Patreon to collect your free codes for sessions. Hello, dear ones. Guess what? I have a whole erotic hypno session for you right at the end of this podcast. And when I say at the end, the podcasty bit, this bit like you're listening to right now, it's only the first couple of minutes. Most of the time that you're going to be spending with me today will be in the super fun hypno part. Whereas the mostly fun chit-chat part is hardly going to take up any time at all. I do want to say a few things that will be interesting to you, so I hope you settle down and just listen for a couple of minutes. It's good for you anyway. It's acclimating you to my voice, getting you ready to slip into trance. First of all, since that last podcast episode that I put out, the one about the sissy maid slumber party, I have done a load of real life stuff. Not that this isn't real life, but we're talking, the real life mundane stuff. As British people love to say, I moved house. I like that saying because it makes me always think that somebody just picked theirs up like a Monopoly piece and moved it somewhere else. But when in Rome, oh God, I wish I was in Rome. But in the UK, I moved house. And since all my maids, they were just busy, cuddled up together, doing their thing, I had to do way too much of the work myself. Then I had no internet for way longer than I was expecting. Thankfully, making do with the phone, as you guys know. Is the internet install ever as easy as they say it's going to be? So I did write some of this new session on paper. I used my spiffy Pelican fountain pen, bought for me by one of my dearest followers. Thank you, Maggie. Pelican pens are fun for a little detail they have. I mean, they're fantastic for lots of things, but there's a fun, fantastic detail about them, so I'll let you discover that for yourself. That slumber party session that titillated so many of you, it never would have happened without Maggie's filthy imagination and insatiable cravings. You wouldn't guess if you just met her. So, like I said, these pens, they're German made, they write nicely. I'm not sponsored by Pelican, nor are they going to send more pins my way, but if they hear this and they want to, then have at it, because there's something so nice about writing longhand and thinking slowly over thoughts that my lovely followers share with me. There's another fun detail that while I was without proper internet and just using, the spotty 4G, the YouTube, it crept up tantalizingly close to 8,000. I think that milestone will be crossed in January, which is fun. I've told my patrons this already, as and when I reach 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, I'm going to treat myself to a ridiculous... Well, is it ridiculous if I want it? No, it's perfect, right? That's what you would tell me. Kink purchase. I don't collect a lot of toys and outfits as a rule, because of a combination of being somewhat a bit frugal. Mostly the big bit is being minimalistic in taste and picky, and I know exactly what I like and what I want, and I tend to stick with that. I don't want, say, like a St. Andrew's cross in my spare bedroom unless I think I'm gonna use it at least weekly. Ooh, do I have any volunteers for weekly? Wait, no, don't say yes to that because the spare bedroom still needs other stuff done to it. Okay, important business. Before I moved house, I had an Amazon wish list. And while going through and altering that because of the move and this and that and the other, I didn't want anything to get lost, so I went ahead and cleared the whole wish list. Now, I've decided since Throne is a pretty popular platform for people who do this sort of thing, I'm trying that out. I've already had some really lovely gifts bought there from some of my most loyal followers. You were happy guinea pigs and willing to give it a try for me. If you'd been wishing that you could buy me a little something for any upcoming important holidays, well, here's your chance. The link is on my website or in the video description or the podcast page or wherever, all the places you would expect to find it. You might still find the old Amazon wishlist somewhere, but it's cleared, so everything is over on Throne. Now, didn't I mention that this session started out being written on pen and paper? There were 3 ideas that sort of clashed. I knew the type of induction concept I wanted to play with, having a trigger. So the induction trigger you're about to hear is essentially training for being able to slip into trance for me in moments. I'm making 5 different versions of the session with different points of focus. They're wonderful points of focus. And in a few weeks, I'll be sharing one with a minimal version of the induction. So it'll be a bit of a new experience for a lot of you and a chance to go under for me at the drop of a hat. Isn't that fun? So what else got mixed up into this idea while it was just green ink in my journal? And I'm giggling over the green ink part because if you are somebody who loves watercolors, fountain pens, etc., make me happy and guess which ink I was using that is green. I should give you a hint. I'll give you this hint. It's one that Cult Pen sells, and it's not a straight green. So try to guess which mostly green ink I used for writing out quite a bit of this session, if that's your thing. In this session, there is a variety of semi-religious symbols and etc. going on here, all delightfully pagan. I'm not trying to offend, but if you've enjoyed the anthro sessions and the visits to the inner temple, it shouldn't feel a million miles away. Pagan things are fun. That usually includes candles, being outside, food, and other entertaining things that can be added in there. And finally, I played around with the statue play. This time, casting your mistress, me, almost as if I were made of marble. Of course, holding any position perfectly is easy for me, but that's simply because it's easy for you to imagine me as flawless. And I love you for it. Okay, that's enough of the chit-chat. It's time for you to learn a new trick. This is Worship My Feet, a sexually titillating erotic hypnosis session spoken by Elsbeth. You are listening to the long induction version of this session, which itself is one of a set of 5 sessions. Before you listen any further, take the time to make yourself comfortable. Find that place where you're unlikely to be interrupted, and you can fully enjoy my voice. Let it wash over you. Let it direct your thoughts, guide you to where I'd best like it to be. I promise this will be a pleasurable experience. The briefest of warnings now. This session and all the others that go with it include thoughts of your lips and tongue on parts of my body. I can't imagine how you might have gotten this far, and that will still be a surprise. If that, or any other part of this session causes you distress, my safe word setting sessions are waiting for you to deliver you to a warm and comfortable place. What you are about to do for me, the sacrament you are about to perform, is no mere exercise. It isn't just a metaphor, a novelty to dress up your typical induction into trance. It is a gift. It is a ritual that will take you to a wondrous and peaceful state of mind where we can commune. I want you to be able to do this for me. I want you to be able to perform this way, eagerly, readily, swiftly. So I will remind you now and each time that this sacrament teaches you something useful. It teaches you to steel yourself, to ready yourself for our encounter in moments. And any time that you feel ready, when you feel that your closeness, your connection to me has grown and developed, then you can test your devotion. You can seek the brief version of this session and see just how easily you slip into that warm embrace of trance. You can do so simply by speaking the words that I've given you. You want that. You want to impress me with your devotion, with your unquestioning understanding of my power. I welcome it. I cherish it. But for now, we begin as we always do. These are your words, the words you will learn from me. My body relaxes. My mind empties. My thoughts turn to service, to worship, to the goddess. And words, but words, command, control, bind me. I am entranced. And now you will perform them for me, aloud or at a whisper, or merely in your head. You will speak these words. We will go slowly for now and focus on why the words are important. Because you want to learn this for me. You want to practice this for me. Your words end with a 3-word affirmation, and we will learn this first. I don't expect it to have any effect immediately. Its purpose is to signal an end state and the possibility of transitioning onward. Those 3 words are, I am entranced. I am entranced. And as you speak those words, when they follow the rest of the ritual just so, then you will be able to enter easily a state of hypnotic trance. I promise that it is just that easy. Maybe you haven't ever felt those words. I am entranced. Take you deep down into a state of readiness, suggestibility, openness. Maybe you haven't ever felt those words yet, but I promise that you will, shortly, soon. So first you will relax more completely. You will speak for me the words, "My body relaxes." And it is easy to say this, easy to follow that instruction when I gave it to you just a few moments ago. This is how your act of worship begins, and sometimes I might take my time helping you relax, but it isn't really something that you need too much time to do. When you are in a good and comfortable place, somewhere that you want to be, then it is easy for you to relax. My body relaxes, something you will get used to doing for me, something you can do readily and easily. When you speak the words, "My body relaxes," you find that you do just that, naturally and easily. And as you notice this, so you notice that you are becoming ready to worship me. Think about what I want from you. I am asking for worship, not attention, not even lust. I'm asking for you to worship me. Perhaps this is not something that you understand innately, and that's okay. It isn't a universal experience, but there are some hallmarks that I think apply, that I want to apply for you. And most central to that is a sort of focus. I want you to put other things other than me, out of your mind. Build on that state of relaxation I have asked for with the next words, "My mind empties." And as you speak for me, imagine that you are making space. Space inside your mind to think, even for a while, of only me. You speak the words, "My mind empties," and because you are ready and willing to follow my suggestions, you can ignore anything else that's not part of your singular goal. You want to worship me. You want to focus on me. You want to think only of me, if only for a while. And you speak those words, "My mind empties," and it is so. Notice now that this process of simply listening and hearing my suggestions and following them as closely as you can is an easy thing to do. Perhaps it's something you've done before, perhaps more times than you could count. Can you imagine counting each time you follow these new suggestions? And can you imagine your sense of personal pride, your perception of satisfaction as you reach some milestone of repetition, the second, or the 9th, or the 12th, or the 54th? Being able to be aware of this is an indicator, one of many. Would you prefer to know exactly how many times you've heard these words I'm giving you? Or would you prefer to lose count? Let us continue. A longer line, but not too challenging for you. These words will settle in your empty mind like a series of smooth, flat stones, arranged in a line in a bed of fine, white sand. My thoughts turn to service, to worship, to the goddess. These new words will leave little pits and hollows, just as the rocks would on the sand. My thoughts turn to service first, and then each time the other words will fit back into those same resting places, fitting back in with a familiarity that feels wonderful, satisfying. To worship, because that is why you are here. To the goddess, because you are here for me. We are tantalizingly close to the words I promised, the words that will take you into hypnotic trance. But before you reach them, you have one last promise to make to yourself. This last line, like the last, is strange, arcane, and your mind may wish to squeeze an extra syllable into the phrasing to make it seem grammatical and proper. But dear, I promise that word has been chosen for you carefully. This is how they work together, most perfectly, to give you just what you want, just what I've asked for. And words, but words, command, control, bind me. You might think these words to be magical. You may think of them as a carefully crafted trick. You can elect to consider them a sexy game that you choose to play with me. It doesn't matter. No way of looking at this ritual will unpick the knots I have tied your subconscious in. You are ready now. Make my promise come true. My body relaxes. My mind empties. My thoughts turn to service, to worship, to the goddess. And words, but words, command, control, bind me. I am entranced. You are here to worship me. Worship my body. Your devotion to me is known, is well understood, and it gives me strength, gives me what I need to carry on. You are here to worship me. But first, you must prepare yourself, because you do understand the difference between you and I. You understand our connection and our relationship. You deserve a symbol of our relative power, a constant reminder of what you devote yourself to. As always, I have chosen that symbol for today. On the altar is a knotted length of rope, carefully coiled. Look at it now. It is a dark, chocolatey brown, as thick as your index finger at least, braided, and it is smooth, not rough, freshly oiled, recently enough that you know it's leaving a subtle residue on your fingertips, your palms. Along the length of the rope are a number of golf ball-sized stones. You can see that the braided cords were separated, untwisted, then allowed to return to capture these smooth greenish pebbles. The result is that this length of rope, only some 4 feet long, is significantly heavier than you might have imagined. Perhaps as much as 2 kilos or as much as 5 pounds. One of those large bottles of soda that fill up the shelf in the refrigerator door. Take your pick, dear. Consider the weight of this item as I tell you its purpose. Palm one of the stones and feel that they are already warm. This is your yoke. This is a symbol of your devotion and service. You will wear it across your shoulders, and like any lumbering and ponderous notion you might carry with you, it will weigh on you. You wouldn't opine, but after you begin now to feel this heavy new load as it begins to settle upon you, then you might silently wish for even a simple collar, perhaps something clerical. But the yoke has a purpose beyond marking you as what you are. Uncoil it now and think about it as an implement. Imagine placing it upon your body as I have described, resting against the back of your neck. The cord is thick enough that it doesn't bite into your flesh. It is a comfortable thing to wear. It is a comforting thing to wear. Dear devoted one, this rope weighs upon you. It brings you low. As you drape it over your neck, you can recognize this easily. Feel it pull you down. Feel it pull you down and down. Feel the touch of those heavy stones on your chest. You know that they're not cold, that they're not rough. But as you bow your head, they swing away from your skin anyway. It feels good. It feels right and proper to lower yourself before me. Lower yourself before me as you kneel. I recognize your gesture of faith, of obedience, of self-deprecation, and it brings me joy. The goddess is here with you now. I manifest upon the ground this time, with naught between my naked flesh and the smooth floorboards. You know just how they would feel upon my bottom. I'm leaning back so that my upper body is supported by my own straight arms. You can see my breasts pushed forward, my head thrown back. The yoke keeps your head bowed, and you can see that much by straining to glance upwards. See the graceful line of my neck, decorated with a golden chain, a pendant with inlaid emeralds. See my hair braided and hanging forward over one shoulder to obscure one nipple from your gaze. You know how the grain of the floorboards would feel against my skin, because you can feel those same floorboards, the grain beneath your knees, perhaps even your palms too. My legs are stretched out in front of me. leaving my feet exactly where they needed to be, right in your line of vision. Exactly where the rope over your shoulders has perfectly brought your gaze, your attention. When I appear to you this way, you will never see anything less than perfection. It is easy for me, as your goddess, to remain in this position, to maintain the pose, statuesque, and to allow you to perform for me. You would be forgiven for thinking that your goddess is a waxwork figure, accepting that you can feel the warmth of my body, hear my calm breath, even see the slight movement of my body as I draw it in and out. I know why you are here. I know what you want to do. You want to impress upon me your worthiness to serve me. You want to worship me. But not only that, you want to prove your unworthiness too. You want to press your lips against my skin. You want to show me your devotion with your mouth and tongue, not with words. And you don't want to worship your goddess in the way I would teach you to. The perfect places upon my flesh that I'd have your ministrations focus, nor somewhere more titillating, more immediately, more obviously pleasing. You want to prostrate yourself, make yourself lower still, and kiss the lowest part of me. The cord that weighs upon your neck feels heavier now, feels weighty enough to drag you all the way down to the ground, down. Imagine your chest against the fine grain of the floorboards. Imagine how close you are to my heels. Consider exactly how it feels now. Imagine the sensation of pressing your pursed lips against the heel of my foot. But not just the physical sensation. Imagine how it makes you feel. Consider who I am to you in this moment. I am unburdened. I am decorated. I am elevated. I am the goddess, and you are here to worship me. You are able to feel fully to what degree being allowed to grace my skin with your lips. It is a privilege beyond compare. You would feel pride, perhaps, except that you know I don't wish for that. The way you're focusing your attention, focusing your worship upon me should clear your mind of any hint of that sinful emotion. And in this moment of private praise, how would you feel anything like pride? There's no audience that would wish to be in your place. There's just the two of us. Nothing else around. Now, you may kiss the other foot, right upon the arch. You are to press your lips there and not to remove them. In this form, as your goddess, your idol, you can know that I am flawless. I am perfectly clean. You might imagine that beautiful virginal attendants bathed me, anointed my body in oils. You can allow your imagination to float through possibilities until it lands on a perfect scent. A perfume that reminds you of a time that almost mirrors this one. where you were in awe of an object of fierce power and overwhelming beauty. In some other world, in some other arrangement, you might yourself choose how to trace your tongue on my skin. In the here and now, I'll prescribe the ideal behavior. From this position you have been holding, with your lips against the sole of my foot, I want your tongue's tip to also touch my skin. And slowly, oh so slowly, I want you to bring 2 lips and tongue tip up, carefully up along my foot. Go ahead now and do this for me. Think on this. When I appear to you as a mere mortal, you might be diligent to not tickle me in such a vulnerable and sensitive spot. But now, you will be careful more simply because this is what the ritual demands. Keep the pressure of your lips and tongue perfectly even as you get closer and closer to my toes. Draw your breath so smoothly, steadily, that I wouldn't feel it upon my skin, and close your eyes. Upon the 4th toe of my left foot is a gold ring. Like the necklace you noted, it too hosts a bright green stone. Your last act in the presence of your goddess, when I demand it, will be to kiss that stone. And you will do this for me when I speak those 3 words, that simple and easily understood instruction. When I say to you a final time today, worship my body, you will wake easily and immediately out of hypnotic trance. When I give you that instruction, all other suggestions I have given you about this experience, the symbols of your devotion and your faith, will lift easily. When you wake from trance, you will feel joy. You will feel a deep understanding of my love for you as my follower, one who reveres me. And with your mood lifted up and into the heavens, you will be ready for whatever comes next, be it a busy and productive day, or an opportunity for relaxation and recreation, or even drifting into a deep and restorative slumber. And you do each and any of these things with my blessing. Now I will ask you for that last moment of veneration, that last kiss. Worship my body.